Only on 4 tonight, spotlighting the nightmare facing parents around St. Louis. Children battling serious drug addictions.
One mother sought help through the courts, but a big delay stood in her way. Tonight News 4's Chris Negus investigates.
Mackenzie was full of life. She was full of light.
Janetta Johnson is like any mother. Her daughter's artwork and photos are all over her Sullivan home.
This has been one of the greatest experiences ever.
And videos of the once aspiring actress reveal moments from a better time.
I hoped that her future was going to be good, and then she fell into drug use.
Like so many, Mackenzie battled addiction. First, it was heroin, then fentanyl. It was so rampant, she nearly died on multiple occasions.
They did Narcan twice and brought her back.
And that was last summer?
That was, in August of last year.
So you knew there was a serious problem?
Yes.
So serious, Janetta sent Mackenzie out of state for treatment. It worked, but only for a while. Mackenzie returned and fell back into the same crowd and the same pattern.
I tried to keep her out here so that she was away from that, but it didn't work.
On December 16th of last year, Mackenzie stormed out. Sullivan police were called as this desperate mom drove alongside her daughter and pled for her to get back in the car. But police could not stop Mackenzie.
They said, well, she has nothing on her now. There's nothing we can do. And I said, that could be the last time I see my daughter alive.
Mackenzie made it to this Bridgeton motel. Janetta found out and went to her local courthouse, an attempt to place Mackenzie in a 96-hour involuntary detention, a tool that can be obtained through probate court, or if a law enforcement officer believes a person is facing imminent harm due to a mental disorder or substance abuse.
Why did you want her involuntarily committed?
Because she wasn't in control of what she was doing.
The courts in Franklin County sent her to St. Louis County because that's where Mackenzie was staying. Janetta rushed to Clayton, and on December 21st, just before the courthouse closed for the weekend, along with Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, Janetta filed her application to have Mackenzie detained. But Janetta claims the courts did not get the petition moving until after the long holiday break. By December 26th, it would be too late. The day after Janetta attempted to have her daughter committed, she got a phone call from a St. Louis hospital. Mackenzie overdosed.
I said, is my daughter going to make it? And she paused and she said, no.
Christmas was hell. On the 26th of December, Mackenzie was declared brain dead. Janetta had to say goodbye.
And I got up in her bed and I held her in my arms and I rocked her and I sang to her and I put her head on my heart so she could feel my heart beating as her heart took its last beat. And that is something no parent should ever have to do.
Today, Janetta is advocating for change.
So when I was talking with
Nate Tate is her state representative.
When somebody comes into the courthouse, whether it's Friday at 4 or Tuesday at 2, should this be addressed immediately?
I think so, absolutely.
Tate understands it's a legal process, but also wants to know why it didn't help Mackenzie.
My hope would be to find out what happened. Not to necessarily place blame, but just to see what happened so that if there was something in particular that was wrong with this particular situation, that we can find it, potentially fix it.
They definitely, pushed her aside and, did this because it was a holiday.
So what went wrong? The courts consider Mackenzie's records confidential, so copies were not provided to News 4. But finally, on Halloween, the probate court handed over Mackenzie's file to her mother. Get this, Janetta's request for the 96-hour hold was actually approved the day she walked in. But the warrant to pick up Mackenzie wasn't filed until 5 days later when the courts reopened. So why did it sit there? The St. Louis County courts don't consider this process an emergency. A spokesperson said, in an emergency, call 911. But a spokesperson for the Missouri Department of Mental Health said their agency considers the 96-hour commitment as a tool for emergencies. Another issue, Janetta wasn't allowed to leave the courthouse with a copy of this petition. She says she would have personally driven the signed warrant to the police on her own if that would have sped up the process.
Do you believe, Janetta, that had you had this form in hand and were at the police department with this, do you feel like the outcome would be different?
I believe if they would have went and served her, or I would have been able to retrieve a copy of it, she would still be here today. I believe that she would still be alive.
In St. Louis County, more than 1,800 people asked the courts to place a 96-hour hold on a family member or friend last year. If you're one of them and you're willing to share more about your experience, you can find me on Twitter or my KMOV Facebook page. Chris Negus, News 4 Investigates.